Hawaii has been hit by 2 major storm systems in 14 days, and the second one just broke a 15-year flood record on Oahu. Saturday, February 21st, Luluku gauge in Kaneohe records 24 inches of rain in 24 hours. Moanalua gauge collects 20 inches. Paumoho in Waialua measures 17.66. A gauge near Waiahole registers an instantaneous downpour equivalent to 8.43 inches per hour. Moanalua Stream hits a record flood stage of 10.76 feet, shattering a mark set 15 years ago. 9 water rescues across the island. Police, fire, and DLNR deployed simultaneously to communities they could not reach by road. 2 weeks earlier, Governor Josh Green declared a statewide state of emergency for the first storm, closed every state office, every public school, every university campus, activated the Hawaii National Guard. Before the state reopened, and the second system was already forming. Roughly 80 residents of a former plantation camp on Oahu's North Shore were ordered to evacuate Saturday afternoon. Police went door to door. Streams in Kaneohe turned into raging rivers. Highways went underwater. Brown water advisories shut Hanauma Bay. And on Kauai, police closed Kuhio Highway at the Hanalei River Bridge, the same road destroyed in the national record rainfall of 2018. But here is the detail that tells the real story. Otake Camp sits on Kaupai Road in Waialua, Oahu's North Shore, a former sugar plantation worker camp. Wood frame houses raised on posts several feet above ground. Built that way for a reason. The Waialua Sugar Company put them there in the early 1900s. Roughly 2,000 workers, 12,000 acres, families from Japan, the Philippines, Portugal, China, and the plantation closed in 1996, last sugar operation on Oahu. Some of the families never left. Retirees and surviving spouses still live in those homes, paying $25 to $45 a month under an arrangement with former owner Dole Food Company, a promise from another century. Otake Camp sits directly downstream of the Wahiawa Reservoir, largest freshwater impoundment in Hawaii. 2.5 billion gallons held behind an earthen dam built in 1906. The dam feeds Kaukonahua Stream. When the stream floods, Otake Camp floods. On Saturday, February 21st, Kaukonahua Stream rose 8 feet in 90 minutes. At 1:48 p.m., the evacuation order came. Police and DLNR went door to door. To understand how Oahu arrived here, you have to watch the timeline accelerate. February 6th, Governor Green issues a statewide emergency proclamation. All islands bracing. National Weather Service warns of heavy rain, flash flooding, damaging winds through Monday. February 7th, Maui County Mayor Richard Bisson declares a separate emergency. Hana Highway blocked by downed trees and rockfalls. February 8th, the storm hits full force. Wind gusts exceed 60 miles per hour. Over 9,000 customers lose power on Oahu. Hawaiian Electric reports restoring 45,000 in the previous 24 hours, meaning tens of thousands had already gone dark before anyone started counting. Honolulu activates its Emergency Operations Center at 7 a.m. Laupahoho on Hawaii Island records 16.16 inches in 24 hours. In 72 hours, the same station records 30.36 inches. A 60-foot kiawe tree crashes onto Kahawiki Street in Kalihi. The state Supreme Court cannot reopen on schedule. A banyan tree has toppled onto its grounds. February 9th. Governor announces state offices and schools will reopen Tuesday. Ground across the islands is saturated. Emergency proclamation still active. February 20th. NWS confirms the wet season has been relentless since December. Kauai Emergency Management confirms projections show higher than normal rainfall ahead. Another disturbance approaching. February 21st, 3 a.m. Phones across Oahu and Kauai light up. Flash flood warning. Rain already falling at 2 to 3 inches per hour over the Koolau Mountains. No pause between systems, no recovery window, just accumulation on top of saturation. And then it got worse. Oahu from above. The Koolau Range runs the length of the island's windward side, a knife-edge ridge of volcanic rock rising to 3,150 feet. When easterly trade winds hit these mountains, moist air is forced upward, cools rapidly, and wrings itself out over the same narrow valleys every time. NWS forecaster Stephen Parker explained it directly. Easterly winds force air up and over the mountain range to the windward side, squeezing more rain out of the clouds. On February 21st, storm cells were sitting almost still over the spine of the Koolaus. Same area, same mountains, same valleys, hour after hour. Rain hits steep volcanic slopes with thin soil and almost no absorption capacity. Within minutes, runoff channels into streams draining through residential neighborhoods built on valley floors. Kaneohe, Waiahole, Hauula, Maunawili, all windward communities sitting at the bottom of the funnel. The water does not spread, it concentrates. Kaukonahua Stream, the longest on Oahu, drains a massive watershed from the central plateau through Waialua to the north shore. Everything upstream feeds it, including the Wahiawa Reservoir. Here is the problem that is not making headlines. The Wahiawa Dam was built in 1906 by the Waialua Sugar Company, earthen dam. 88 feet high, 660 feet long, it impounds 2.5 billion gallons behind a spillway that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers identified as undersized. In 1978, 47 years ago, that spillway has not been rebuilt. The state rates the dam high hazard potential. Condition rated poor. Risk classification very high. Cardi Chang, chief of the DLNR Engineering Division, told the Board of Land and Natural Resources, "With climate change, it's not a matter of if, but when. We don't want another Koloko." Koloko Dam on Kauai breached in 2006. 7 people died. If Wahiawa Dam fails, approximately 2,500 people in the downstream inundation zone. On Otake Camp, directly in the path, the state passed Act 218 to purchase the dam and fund $21 million in spillway repairs. Dole Food Company, which owns the reservoir, then stopped complying with state-mandated safety timelines. The DLNR fined Dole $25,000 in 2021 for failing to make ordered improvements. On Saturday, February 21st, when Kaukonahua Stream rose 8 feet in 90 minutes, and police went door to door through Otake Camp telling families to leave. The dam above them was the same dam. Same undersized spillway. Same poor condition rating it has carried for years. And this is where it gets worse. Kurt Kendo has lived in Kaneohe for 15 years, never once worried about flooding. Saturday around 7 a.m., he was getting his family ready for the day. A stormwater easement in his neighbor's yard overwhelmed with runoff. Both yards filled. A foot deep and rising. Overflow entered the bottom floor of his home on Pahole Street. 2 inches across his kitchen, 2 inches across his living room. Carpets destroyed, flooring waterlogged. 15 years in that home. First flood, same storm, same morning. Archie Apostol in Kaneohe watched the stream behind his property surge beyond anything he had ever seen. Water washed away his stairs entirely. A drain blocked with cement blocks failed, sending runoff over a retaining wall, through his backyard, and directly beneath his house. On the north shore, Jhon Acuna arrived at his restaurant Surf N Salsa in Haleiwa early Saturday. In 2021, Opaiula Stream rose to 15 feet and flooded his business. Nearly 4,000 displaced. On Saturday, the water was still inside the stream bank when he opened. 3 hours later, it had risen 5.5 feet. "It's getting higher by the minute," he told KHON2, watching the same stream approach his storefront again. Across the island, Honolulu EMS teams mobilized to assist a dozen homeless individuals caught in the downpour. Wound care, blankets, bandages, shelter assistance for people who had no structure to evacuate from. Every one of them in a normal week, Saturday morning, doing something ordinary. As of Sunday, February 22nd, the NWS has issued a new flood watch for Kauai, Oahu, Maui, Molokai, Lanai, Kahoolawe, and Niihau. Another upper-level trough approaching. Ground still saturated from 24 inches the day before. Streams remain elevated. Wet season runs through April. Kauai Emergency Management's Solomon Kaneohe reminded reporters what these islands already know. Back in 2018, we set the national record for the most rainfall in a 24-hour period, 49.69 inches at Waipa Garden. 532 houses damaged or destroyed. Over $125 million in damage. The same Kuio Highway Police closed again at Hanalei Bridge on Saturday. How do you tell 80 residents of a plantation camp built in 1906 that the dam above them was also built in 1906, rated poor condition, and carries an undersized spillway that has not been fixed in 47 years? How do you tell a state that holds the national record for rainfall in 24 hours that the wet season producing these floods is not over? The ground is already saturated, and the next system is arriving today. If two major storms in 14 days can shut down the state, break a 15-year stream record, evacuate a plantation camp, and flood homes that have never flooded before, and what happens when the next cell sits still over the Koolau and does not move? In Waialua, Otake Camp was built to house workers for the Waialua Sugar Company. Families from Japan, the Philippines, Portugal, China. Some of their descendants still live there, $25 to $45 a month. Homes raised on posts above the floodplain because the stream has always been the threat. The plantation closed in 1996. The dam above them was built in 1906. The Army Corps identified the undersized spillway in 1978. Dole was fined in 2021 for not fixing it. The state passed a law to buy and repair it. On Saturday, Kaukonahua Stream rose 8 feet in 90 minutes and police went door to door. The evacuation was lifted at 4:30 p.m. Residents returned. The dam has not changed.